Go. Ready?
Yeah. Let's get them. Now I don't know what hating niggas.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for those who are here joining us. We really appreciate it. It took us just an extra minute to get on because, well, we had some technical difficulties that we were dealing with, but we made it.
First day problems, man.
First day problems, starting from humble beginnings, man, let me tell you.
Should we have figured this out? Because my feet are off the ground. I feel like 5'4".
Oh, I don't know,
Damn.
man.
Look, I feel
You've-
I'm a baby. All right, let's get it done, man.
All right. So just want to figure a couple things out, let a couple people join. We really appreciate everybody who gave their support this week. You know, it was a really challenging month. We tried to jam pack a lot of stuff in all at once to get this up and running. I mean, and especially with everybody's busy life, you know, Tony's got the family. You know, I myself got my job, got, you know, everything that's going on in life. And so we're really happy and excited that we made it. And we appreciate everybody that'll be joining us. And we hope you enjoy the journey with us, man. Tony, talk for a couple minutes, man, while I get things set up over here.
Well, look, guys. Basically, quick intro. My name is Coach Tony T. Shane the Pain.
Yes,
Nobody
sir.
calls him that. We will call him.
People have called me that since I was in elementary school, believe it or not. To those of you who don't believe it, it is actually a true story, and hopefully some of those who join can attest to it.
So yeah, we're gonna be basically hitting on topics, you know, life topics. Try and help out some people. You guys maybe seen Shane's Omegle chats that has happened. You know, talking about life, asking a bunch of different questions. As you may know, the 5 languages, love languages,
Yes.
was a big early topic. But we're gonna discuss more things. You know, triggers, weaknesses, relationship stuff, children stuff, whatever it is. And maybe, you know, any topics relating to
What's
could be
trending?
anything,
Yeah,
anxiety,
what's trending? What's going on out there? But first and foremost, before we start kicking it off, I do want to give a special thanks out to Rico Blocks and Mr. Milish. They allowed us so graciously to use their music for our content over the past couple of weeks and rolling out the content to introduce for the podcast. So we sincerely appreciate that, gentlemen. And for those of you who are interested and like the music, you can go to Spotify and search for Rico Blocks as well as Malicious. And Rico Blocks this evening, he's going to be on CKUT, CKUT 90.3 FM at 11 o'clock. So after this show, make sure to stay up a bit and go check him out on the radio. He's doing an interview. He'll be opening up for Smith and West at the Belmont, I believe. I'll have to get back to you on the dates. But
April 5th.
April 5th. Thank you, Tony. So all this is going to be in the link in the description when we upload the podcast episode on all of our social media platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as TikTok. So big thanks to those gentlemen. We really appreciate the support from the local legends in the rap game here. Honestly, you know, it's really hard to make it in the industry, but these two guys are the biggest voices that we have in the 450 and 514 region. So much love to these guys, and we appreciate it very much. To give a bit of a quick of an intro about what this podcast is, because I know I've got a bit of ADHD and I'm a bit of a scatterbrain, so sometimes my messaging doesn't always come out clear and concise, you know, but I work on it as much as I can. But ultimately, you know, a lot of the topics we'll be discussing throughout the course of the podcast are, you know, self-care, self-help, and some of the tools available and techniques to, you know, keep you on track, you know, and why it's important to do so. We'll also touch base on relationships, and not just necessarily the relationship between you and your spouse, but it's the relationships with your immediate circle, family members, friends, colleagues, and things of that nature. We'll also get into the love languages and why it's important to know what they are and how to use them, and how to reciprocate love in the language in the love language of your that your partner resonates with the most. As you can tell, it's been a tough week so far, man, and I'm stumbling, fumbling, mumbling my words, man. But thanks for hanging in there with us, guys. And I have my cheat sheet here, so I don't forget some of the important stuff. So, Tony, you want to add anything to that, man? And how is
Look, you say you have ADHD. Man, look, I'm Gemini. I might be bipolar. I don't know. Maybe I should check that out. That is very, very possible.
You know what?
I do some stuff that is very bipolar-ish. So people say it's because I'm Gemini. So look, we'll try to bring it as one of you. Look, we're not acting. We're not trying to be Oprah, Dr. Phil.
Yeah, we're not therapists. We don't have a lab coat. We're just trying to bring to light some of the things that have worked for us, and hopefully it can work for some of you guys if you're going through something similar. And if not, I hope you just enjoy the journey as we go along and go through it, man.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So, Tony, man,
let's go.
Let's get into it. All right. So, we do have a couple segments, and every week the show will be, about an hour long, where we'll go through each and every one of these segments. And the first segment that we're introducing on the podcast this week is checking your reflections. And this is really about taking some time to think about, how your body's doing, how your mind is doing, checking out how the status of the relationships with you and your friends and your family members in your immediate circle, and then doing some reflection in terms of, how much energy did you pour into your buckets this week, and which buckets did you fill up, and why it's important to manage that aspect of your life, right? And so we'll get into that. And so, this week I'll open up and I'll start off by saying that my body took a bit of a toll. I probably didn't get a lot of sleep with the, excitement and anticipation leading up to the first show, so I probably didn't get a lot of rest. I probably didn't, from a dietary standpoint, eat as many good calories as I should have. I probably did a lot of eating out this week instead of cooking meals at home, which is something that's really important, and we should, strive to do. Cook your meals at home instead of relying on eating out.
But when that Big Mac hits, man, sometimes it's good. It's good for the soul,
It's not good for the body, but chicken soup, right? Big Mac for the soul type of thing.
That's it, baby.
Excellent. So aside from that, I mean, I kind of did it purposely to just get close to what we call a burnout this last couple weeks, trying to cram in as much as possible. For the sake of showing you the journey of how we can, take back control of our energy and redistribute it, and hopefully look for some balance. But when I tend to, invest in one particular area and neglect other areas, I kind of have not only physiological effects, but I got some, societal effects as well. As you can see, I'm a little scatterbrained. Not as composed right now in my thoughts or the way that I'm delivering my message. So it's had a bit of an impact on me. And in addition to that, when I get stressed or when I have anxiety, my eczema tends to flare up, and so without knowing, in the middle of the night, I might end up scratching, whether it be the back of my leg or my arm or my forehead. And then I wake up the next morning and I got, a scratch mark or whatever. And that always seems to impact my self-esteem and whatnot. So those are some of the things that my body went through this week, man. And how about you? How's your body feeling?
Before we continue, Sabrina wanted to know where we're located. We're in Laval. I will not say the address.
Yeah, it's anonymous. It's
1265
Main Street.
No, honestly, me, it's been a long week, regular week, the routine. Which sometimes you try to break, but you can't. But it ended up with last night, me and my wife had a good conversation talking about something that was very important, maybe that you needed to let out, and I feel better about it today. So the fact that the week was stressful, but Shane was usually doing more of the heavy lifting for the show, and me, I'm doing stuff outside from my life and children and all that.
But what's your
Uh,
body saying
but
to you now? Now
but
that it's the end of the week,
after that conversation, there was a lot of like sometimes it's not physical drainage; it's more mental.
mental for
You
you.
know, it's mental, and when you have that conversation, you're able to release any type of, I could say, I guess, anxiety that you have about certain things. But when me and my wife, had a talk, and real talk, no bullshit,
Yeah.
of everything that's real and what I think about certain things and what she thinks. And today, it was all good, man. Everything was good. So those conversations that we need to have, and that's what we're gonna try and help throughout this course. And maybe sometimes when we go on Instagram Live, maybe we'll get guests on, and you guys could ask
For
questions, and
sure.
we can respond. Stuff like that, man. We can help each other out. Again, disclaimer: we're not doctors. We don't claim to be. This is purely for not only, I would say, entertainment, but just to help each other out as as
Yeah, man.
people, because we know there is a need for that. There's people that need to talk to people from whatever it may be. It might be good things, bad things, whatever it is. We're here to
Our
essentially help.
ears are open. We're definitely going to be reaching out, inviting some people on our live streams. But really, I just want to get back to the point of doing some reflection and talking about, like, what was your sleeping pattern like this week, man? Was it, how's your sleeping pattern? Is it consistent, always the same time? I know you've been doing some extra work in your personal life. Not that I'm going to share that story, but I just want to get into the habit of identifying, is your body telling you that you need to rest more? Do you feel like you have a lot of energy, a lot of stored up energy that you need to release?
This week, I actually made an effort to just go to bed. Sometimes when you sleep on the couch, you fall asleep on the couch, and like the day is so hectic. There's a lot of things to be done at night. You're so tired. You sit, you talk to your significant other, and then you fall. You want to put something on, and you fall asleep right away.
Yeah.
Can't make it through a full show. The day has been full,
Yeah.
which is okay. Like it's not good also to binge watch something until 2 a.m., which I did on my week off. The Wu-Tang American Saga, that shit was amazing.
Yeah.
Nostalgic. So, but this week I made an effort, like, if I'm going to go, I'll put something on in bed. So now I'm in bed and
In a comfortable position.
comfortable
getting
position,
ready.
yeah. I don't have to wake up middle of the night and go,
Excellent.
and that's got me good sleep.
And so when you wake up in the morning after having that change, that one thing that you were doing, right? Instead of falling asleep on the sofa, you decided, I'm going to make a change and I'm going to go into the bedroom. I'm going to watch TV from the bedroom, but I'll be in a more comfortable position.
That's it.
And when you woke up in the morning, every morning throughout the week, were you feeling better than the last week?
Yeah, I was having full days. No, I wasn't exhausted. Like in the middle of the day, I felt like maybe I would have needed to take a nap or something like that, which is really not good. That could mess up your pattern too, right? Because the week before, on the week off, man, I took a nap. Maybe I did a bunch of things and maybe take a small nap, and then at night you're awake, and then you got to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
It's mess you up. So sleep is important. Maybe at some point, try to get back to an exercise. That's my mission for this upcoming week. Is to
Excellent.
do even exercise on the floor or something like that.
Excellent.
Just
We
to
want
get
to
things
keep it
done.
strict to the timeline, guys, so we're just going to push to the next couple questions. So the next thing that I want to reflect on is like the relationships within my circle, my family, friends, wife, things of that nature. So, since I invested heavily a lot in doing a lot of the heavy lifting to get this podcast up and running, I obviously neglected other areas. And, my wife pointed out something really interesting, a really interesting behavior, which was, she felt the need to come up to me and question whether or not I was upset at her or whether I was annoyed with her, right? For simply having asked me a question or something. And so that led me to the belief that, I was showing some type of physical behavior where I let my wife feel like I annoyed her or something just by her approaching me, right? But
Yeah.
that wasn't the case. I took the time to explain, I was putting a lot on my plate, getting a lot of things done. But that was definitely one thing. And another thing is, I for the last couple of weeks, I haven't, spent any time with my friends going and doing the normal activities that we usually do, on a Friday evening. Whether it's going to play golf with certain friends, where we used to do that on a regular basis. And I feel like that's also having an impact, on my friendships as well. I'm not there for them to be able to, let them vent out from time to time about, what's going on, or just to be there with somebody and not have to say anything at all, and just enjoy the time and free your mind type of thing. So, but I did put in time for family members, and that felt really great, man.
Yeah, that's
Like
good.
putting in time for my family, putting in time for my wife's family, that really had a big impact. So I'm gonna continue to put in some more time and spend time with the family members, because that really put in some fuel to keep the tank going. And how about yourself, Tony, man? How were the relationships with your friends and family over the last week?
Honestly, it's good. I called up my friend yesterday. We hung out. It was a good time. I hadn't seen them in a while. Family, always seeing them last Sunday was my daughter's birthday, so the whole family was there. It was fun, some family arguments here and there, but that's what it is, right? That's what family is, and I love every moment of it because for me, my core memories are with the family when I was young. Like this is all, this is what we remember. We cannot see each other for a long time, and it doesn't matter. So that's why if ever, and that's why families argue, right? Is because when somebody says something towards you that you're gonna get more hurt than anybody else. It doesn't
Because
matter
it's
who
not
else.
just a random
Yeah.
person saying it, right?
It's
a family member. And
That's it.
And you feel like if a family member's coming at you, it's like that's the sharpest dagger, right? Because that's the person that's closest to you, right? But you know what? I think also, and maybe we'll test this out as a hypothesis, right? Because I think, Tony, your family dynamic is really, really good in the sense that you guys, make it a point to get together every week for a family dinner, and not just like the immediate family, like the kids and the wife, but like the parents, the in-laws, and things like that. I'm wondering if maybe family arguments could also be related to spending too much time together. Like you made a good point where
Well,
we
here-
cannot spend too much time apart, but what happens, and we'll go down that avenue, just not today, but what happens when a loving family just spends too much time together?
One thing I'll say is arguments are great. Like it's a good thing because if you hold it in and you're not mentioning something, then are you being real with yourself? So it's better to just face the truth and have that argument about how you feel at that moment in time.
Yeah.
And then squash it. That's why some of let's say if there was at work, there's this one guy I always say, you know what, Ronnie, I like because we argue,
Yeah.
and there's other guy we argue, but
It's healthy,
in,
right?
in the end, and like we fight, like we argue, fight's gonna break out or something. But in the end, because we appreciated that we were real with each other, it makes the relationship stronger. And it's the same for family. With friends, it's rare to get that, or with coworkers. Well, with friends, not with friends, you went through the ringer.
Yeah.
I'm coworkers, employees, stuff like that. It's harder to do because you're always holding back because you got to be politically correct.
Yeah.
With your friend, if you're not real with them, if you don't go through that argument, you're living a lie.
Big time, big
you're living
time.
a lie. Gotta let it
you have
out.
to
Gotta
have,
speak.
You have to have those uncomfortable conversations, right? You gotta, and we'll get into that in a different episode. But that was some great stuff, man, Tony. And then last but not least, before we move on to the next segment, how we took care of our chicken, as Marshawn Lynch likes to call it. Take care of your chicken, take care of your mentals. And so, again, I'm going to just throw it out there, put it into overdrive, rev that machine up. And like I said, with the lack of sleep, with the poor diet this week, really took a mental toll on how quickly or responsive I usually am, or quick on my toes with my responses. So I got to do a better job this week at making sure that I take some time to decompress, walk away, do something that rejuvenates the mind, or just turn the switch off for a couple hours, and that'll be my focus this week. And how about yourself, man? How was your stress levels, your mentals?
Look, man, mentals have been better this week. Again, yesterday was a good night. Saw my friend. My wife went out too, and then we talked after. It was great. It was great. This week, I'm gonna try and focus on doing exercises, man, because plus during winter you get really complacent and you're really like hibernating and stuff. Like the only thing we're going out really is to get the kids and stuff like that,
Yeah.
work, things like this. But you know, got to take time to exercise to focus a bit more on my shit. You know.
Absolutely. Cool, man. So you feel like your head is in a good place right now?
Oh, yeah.
You're definitely going in the direction that you want to be going in.
Yeah, we'll never be fully there. Let's be real. Like, there's always something you're gonna stress about in your life, and it's never gonna be fully there. But it's you could always, do better for yourself.
And that's one thing where, we are always trying to do things, one thing differently than we did yesterday, right? Excuse me. And that's the whole thing. We sometimes try and put too much on ourselves. We get a little bit overwhelmed by doing that. So if we can just take one step back, try and focus on doing one thing differently, with the aspiration of, doing one thing better or to accomplish a different goal than what you're doing today.
Yeah.
I think that's the first step. Thanks very much, guys, for, tuning into checking in with your reflections. Make sure to check in with us next week, where we're going to do the same thing. We'll do a bit of a recap from this week, see what changes we made throughout the week and what impacts it had. All right. And hopefully I'll be a little bit more alert. But we're not leaving you yet. We still got a lot more show to go. All right.
Yeah.
But this next segment is brought to you by our very first sponsor, Pop Art Boy. And this individual, I can't say enough good things about. He's such a creative mind. And he's actually the inspiration and manufacturer of this beautiful piece, our logo behind us. And if you're interested in customizing any piece of art that you would like to hang in your house, office, or store, I recommend you going to his Instagram at Pop Art Boy. On Instagram, he's got a lot of great samples of the work that he's already done. So I definitely recommend that you guys go out there and check it out. And get in touch with him if you want to start, talking about some ideas of some custom artwork that you'd like to either, like I said before, decorate your house with or office or home. Come on in, Tony. Tony's such a gentleman, and I'm going to do the same thing as Tony before I start the next segment. He wanted to blow his nose. I want to blow my nose too, but I'm not going to do it in your ear. I'm going to step away and let Tony be uncomfortable.
Guys, he really made me uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
So let's talk to the next one. What's the next segment, Shane?
All right. Well, look, I'm not done giving my boy praise. Pop Art Boy. It's a beautiful piece of art that we've got on our canvas.
Again, we're gonna post it right.
We're gonna post the link. We're gonna post the link in the description. Hit him up. All right. He's such a breath of fresh air to work with because he comes with so many different ideas. If you've got a couple pictures, don't just send one. Send a couple of them. Let him show you what he can do. Him and his team are super, super, super great at being able to take your idea and put it on a canvas and then, bring it to light. No pun intended. All right. So without further ado, Pop Art Boy, thank you very much for your sponsorship in this next segment that we like to call Street Talk. So if you've been following us on TikTok and on Instagram and Facebook, we've been going out on the street. We've been doing some interviews with some people from our city in Montreal, represent. And we like to thank each and every one of those individuals who took the time to stop and answer some questions and obviously gave their permission to share their content on our social media platforms. But we wanted to get out on the street and we wanted to ask them their knowledge about the love language, some dating and relationship questions, as well as to get into some mental health questions and messages for people suffering from mental health. So if you're interested in seeing all the content that we've put out thus far, we're going to be taking the next couple of weeks to dissect it all, go through it topic by topic. And then tonight's topic is going to be the love languages. So I'm going to play a video, although we can't share it with you this evening because of our technical limitations. You are going to be able to hear it, hopefully through the microphone. And so we're going to play a segment of it. And then we're going to touch base and talk a little bit further on the topic. So without further ado, here we go. We need new technology. but that's okay.
Yes,
With
sir.
Valentine's Day around the corner, the fellas really want to know, can you name the 5 love languages?
Oh, touch, quality time, acts of love, like buying you stuff. Shit. That's it. That's all I know.
So we have 5 languages. We have the first one is peace, respect. What else? We have to like really be disciplined. We have to
That's not all.
respect each other.
Physical touch, gift, like giving, words of affirmations, and like good moments. I don't know.
Okay.
Touch, food,
Okay.
more food.
Well,
That's
I'm gonna
not
have
wrong.
to pass on that one.
What makes you feel loved?
Attention.
Attention? All right. So quality time, just you and that person.
Show me love. Don't cheat.
Loyalty.
Loyalty.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's-
Great answer.
Someone that spends time with
Great
you.
answer.
Quality time.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Excellent. How about
Touch. Guys don't do this enough. Just so we're clear,
they don't do what enough?
they're not touchy feely enough.
They're not. We need to be more touchy feely.
Work on it.
The ladies are giving us consent, boys.
Time, presence, the ability to experience stuff with people and
Excellent.
experience themselves.
That's a really deep answer, folks. We appreciate that.
Connection.
Connection. Excellent. What do you consider a red flag in a person?
All right. So, this segment is brought to you by 36Q. Tony, I'm going to let you do a little brief introduction on 36Q.
Follow 36Q at 36Q Video for weddings, events, corporate events. It's very easy setup, very quick. Customer get the video from the spin to getting the video on your phone. It's a quick process. There's no long lineups. And Aussie, we're giving you 4K quality, 60 frame per second videos. And you can share it on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you'd like, or to your family members. You can add music to it. And you can keep that memory forever digitally. So
this is like what, in the same space as like the photo booth,
Yeah.
right? Like when you go to like a party or something, right?
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
wedding reception or a baby shower or bridal shower. It's like, so you're competing in the space with the photo booth, but it's so much better because it involves motion and you can incorporate music. And not only that, but the people who are making the videos can receive it on their smart devices. And how long does it take for them to get that video?
by the time they're off the stage,
Canvas, yeah.
off the canvas, they just come, put their number in, send. It's on their phone. They could download it on
Within
their phone.
minutes, right?
Not even within seconds.
Within seconds. How many guys? How many times? Let us know in the chat, okay? How many times have you been to a wedding reception or a reception, and they've got a photo booth, all right? And then you take a picture, and the quality of that picture is so terrible that you just leave it at the center of the table next to the centerpiece. Actually, you've left the pictures in place of the centerpiece, and you've stolen the centerpiece, and you've taken it home with you. But I myself, having used a photo booth at my wedding, can tell you 75% of the pictures were left on the table because of the poor quality printing materials and equipment. And I can tell you that I've had 36Q at some of my events, and it's a hit, man. I'm telling you. People get on there,
people love
they're
it.
dancing, and we're gonna show you in some of our next promo videos. We're definitely gonna have the equipment out, and we're gonna film some content to give you a much better idea. But go to what is it at 36Q?
At 36Q Video on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and on Facebook, it's just 36Q.
Excellent. So thank you 36Q for sponsoring our next segment, which is called Rough Stuff. We called it Rough Stuff because, generally speaking, for a male audience, it's not typically a subject that we like to dive into.
Not really.
But we're all about giving people knowledge and power, because the more power that you have, the more that you can do with it and the better decisions that you can make. So without further ado, Love languages. Do we know what they are? Why they're important? Tony, can you name the 5 love languages?
I should know them by now,
You
right?
should know them by now.
Fuck, I should have been ready for that.
You should have
but
been.
I did it on purpose, so maybe I can get it right. Words of affirmation,
Yes.
gift giving,
Yes.
quality time,
Yes.
physical touch,
Yes.
and Espanol.
Espanol. Verbal affirmation. You said
Verbal-
verbal affirmation, did you not? No,
Words of affirmation, I said. Acts of service.
Acts of
Acts of
service.
service.
All right. So, Tony, what's your impression of what the love languages are? Like, what the hell does that even mean?
Well, look, it's simple things. It's just what I guess. Let's say for probably most people's significant others is probably quality time, right? Most of the time,
Okay,
right?
okay.
I find like, but it's what's specific to that person, though, right? Like, look, most of them may be quality time, but maybe people like words of affirmation. They like to be told, "Oh, I love you," and whatever. Or some people like gifts. A lot of people maybe they love flowers. If you give your wife or boyfriend or partner, gifts, maybe that's what they like.
All right.
Even the
listen,
smallest things.
Guys, that's not
It's
a bad.
personal to you.
For those of you out there who know what the love languages are, let's not get too hard on Tony. All right, because this is probably the most common type explanation that I've encountered when interviewing people on the street. So you know what, Tony? Let's just say we'll do it. We'll say it like this. You're among the common folk, man.
Yeah.
You're part of the people who, we made a video. Only 35% of people actually know that love languages exist, right? But that doesn't mean that they have an intimate understanding of it or they know how to speak it or use it, right? But Tony's explanation wasn't that far off. Essentially, my interpretation of the love language as I've learned it to be is the way that you can communicate love and appreciation towards your partner. Now, the most common mistake that I find we've made as individuals in relationships is that oftentimes we speak the love language that resonates with us to our partner. So although we're taking the right step and trying to be caring and loving towards our partner by speaking the love language that resonates with us the most, it is the most common mistake because it's not being received the same way as if you were speaking in your partner's love language. And we're not going to go too deep into it today, but I'm going to give you a basic understanding of what the love languages are and what it means, and hopefully you can help identify you yourself what love language you might be. And so the first one we'll talk about today are acts of service. And so generally, somebody who is in acts of service is either somebody who likes to do, the little things around the house that might help take some stress away from your partner, doing the dishes or, doing the laundry, folding the clothes, making the bed, or preparing the kids' lunches, Let's just say, for example, Tony's wife was someone who works a double shift. Tony knows that Tony's wife is, stressed, as of recent. And so he decides, no worries, I'll make lunch for the kids and their school and prepare their bags for their sports, for their after-school curriculum. And when my wife gets home, I'll make sure to run her a nice bath, put some, bubble bath bomb in there or whatever it is that you ladies like to soak up in these days, and light some nice candles. And then when Tony's wife comes home, you can show her that, hey, you're on my mind. I'm thinking about you. I want you to relax and have a good time and not think of anything stressful, So that's an example of what an act of service would be. Tony, you have any questions about that?
No, I really think whoever created this probably had some books they want to sell.
Yes.
Is
they
this
did.
a book?
It is a book. It is a book.
It is a book?
It is a book.
See?
And it's by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. You can either go to your local bookstore or library to acquire it, or for someone like me who just can't read because of my condition, I just did an audiobook. It's the same thing. Moving on to the next one, gift giving. So I think a lot of people have a superficial understanding about what gift giving is in the first place, right? I think people think that people who need to be communicated in the gift giving love language think that there's a common misconception that they're a gift giver, right? Or not a gift giver, a gold digger. A gold digger,
Yeah.
right? That you constantly need to please that person by throwing money their way or taking them on extravagant trips or buying them extravagant gifts and jewelry and things of that nature, when it couldn't be further from the truth, folks. When we're talking about gift giving, essentially what we're talking about is putting sentimental value behind the gift. All right, so I'll shoot an example out there. If two people met on a first date at a particular cafe, and one individual many years later decided they wanted to do something sentimental, Tony. So you know what they did? They went out and they manufactured with their 3D printer that prints in plastic a little keychain, which is a model, a miniature model of the cafe that they met. All right. And so he gifts this to his girlfriend or to his wife or fiance or whomever she is and says, look, as a reminder, as a token of my appreciation, I just want to let you know that I'll always remember where we first met. And I want you to keep this on your person so that every time you look at it, you can remember where we first met. So that essentially what this person has done is tied a memory to this gift, making it sentimental in value, right? And who knows, maybe that keychain only cost, or that little model rendering only cost a couple of cents, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it wasn't the monetary value that went behind the gift. It was the actual gesture and the memory that they attached to it, making it significant. Questions about that?
That's interesting, because when I hear it as I gotta buy gifts for my wife all the time. Like, that's wild. A flower here and there, I understand.
And you know what, guys? A flower is superficial, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because what? Come Valentine's Day, all right, your woman is expecting a vase, right? Because we all know we're not good at romance, right? We're terrible at. Most men are terrible at being that, Rico Suave individual that you see in the, Latin TV shows that could swipe your woman off her feet. Telemundo. But we're not really romantic by nature, so we got to learn that flowers is superficial. It's not really speaking the love language, because that's what every guy does when he drives home from work. Oh, shoot, it's my wife's birthday. Got to get her flowers.
I would rather get the flower, the flower should be on a day outside of these special holidays. If you do that, that's a bit more.
It has more
and
of an
I always
impact.
find one rose always is better than a bouquet of flowers. It's BS. Like, this thing is going to die in not too long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
there's no sentimental value behind flowers, guys. Although, the media and everyone will tell you that, you got to go out there and be romantic. And what's more romantic than a flower? Ask any lady, ladies and gentlemen. Ask any lady, gentlemen. Flowers are not sentimental for them. All right. Moving on to the next one. What do we got? Physical touch. Physical touch does not mean your partner wants you to jump on them and hump them like a hyena.
Nope.
All right. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. What it really, really means is that they like to be held. They like to be, and let them communicate what that physical touch means, Does it mean they like to be spooned in bed? Does it mean they like to have their hand held? Does it mean that when the guy's driving, he can just put his hand over on his girl's, lap or something like that? That's more or less somebody who's physical touch. Somebody who likes to feel like they're being physically caressed. Sorry for having physically caressed. This is a PG show, so
it is.
Sorry about that. That's, so physical touch is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think you could get that wrong.
But you know what? My mind did go to the gutter for a moment.
Did it? Okay.
It did.
It doesn't mean that you have
physical touch.
And you know what? The girl mentioned it. A lot of guys don't do it, but here's the thing. A lot of people are not communicating what it is that they need, and a lot of people are not understanding what it is that they have to give to their partner, right? So that was one of the mistakes, or that was one of the misconceptions that I took away from these interviews, where that, they were constantly blaming people for not being able to speak their love language when they themselves couldn't really communicate how they could receive that love from their partner, right? And that makes
sense.
It makes it really challenging. All right, moving on to the next one. Are we good on time so far?
Yes, we are. Well, we got time right there.
All right. Yeah, we're great on time. All right. So what did we do? We did physical touch. We did gift giving.
Did we do words of affirmation?
We didn't do words of affirmation. We did acts of service.
Yes.
And last but not least, you see where my mind is, guys?
It's a Sunday night.
It's a Sunday night. Quality time. So we've got verbal affirmation and quality time. So let's hit quality time. I have so many of my close friends that fuck up quality time, and I'm sorry, I just had to say it like that because I need to
it's true.
speak to your egos, men. You think you know what you're doing. You don't. I've got a friend that goes, Shane, I stayed home with my girl all week. I'm like, oh, that's great,
That's
man.
true.
What'd you do? Nothing. We were just, in the house together. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. What was quality about that?
That's true.
Right? Quality time does not mean because I am in the same room or in the same home or four walls or vicinity that we are spending quality time together. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another misconception. All right?
If anything, that adds more stress.
It really
because
does.
You're doing nothing.
It's like it. What's worse than just sitting there
Keep going, Shane.
with a partner next to you and you just be completely silent? Like it's. Come on, man. So quality time effectively means that you need to give your partner your full and undivided attention, and surround that by an activity that your partner enjoys doing. For example, my wife has spent, I don't know how many times and games and hours and weeks spent following around watching me play football or going to the Alouettes game. One season we went to every single home game, So she was reciprocating. She was speaking her love language by spending quality time with me, all right, by doing the things that I like to do. So what she was basically saying is, take this as an example of how I would like you to communicate
Yeah.
your love back to me, right? I'm here with you doing an activity that you like doing. This is what I would like in return. So, what this means, gentlemen, ask your lady what she likes to do. All right? Get interested in their take an interest in what their hobbies are so that you can then plan similar types of activities one-on-one that will show your partner that you have a vested interest in their happiness and making them feel loved. Even if it makes you feel a little feminine doing it, because who likes to do gardening or who likes to do painting or crossword puzzles, whatever it is, we're
Crossword puzzles
guys,
are
we're
fun, man.
brutes. I like sports, I don't like, but I'll do it for my woman because I understand it's important to make her feel special and communicate the love language that resonates with her. So I'll continue to try and find those activities and make sure that we keep doing them. Last but not least, before we move on to the next, is verbal affirmation. And I think Tony is a stellar verbal affirmation giver. It also leads me to believe that he's probably a verbal affirmation type of guy himself, because verbal affirmations essentially are when you can make somebody feel valuable about, whether it be the actions that they did or the impact that they have on your life. It's essential that person feel as though that they're an integral part of your life and that they bring value to your life. And one of the ways that Tony does that is he constantly throws his praise my way. Whether anybody asked for it or not, he's always there to say, by the way, he'll throw an example out like Shane did this week and, he ran with it. He did such a great job. And, like he's making me feel valuable with his words, and that's my love language. I like verbal affirmation. I need to know verbally, that I'm doing a good job or I'm adding value to my partner's life, Partner business-wise, my wife is my life partner, so I don't want you guys to get that, confused. But I appreciate it when he does that. And Tony, like, what do you think your love language is, man? If I took a stab in the dark, would you say that you want...
It is probably words of affirmation because like I always want to know, like, yo, you good? You good? Let me know you're good. Let me know everything is cool with us.
Yeah.
Whether it's anybody, sibling, wife, mother, friend, whatever it is. Like, I just want to know that we good, and I guess that would count as word of affirmation, right?
I mean, you need
that
affirmation
confirmation
that everything is good,
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to jump into, in the weeks to come, why that is and where that comes from, where our love language got developed from, because there's a lot of things that go into it. So we'll definitely get into it, but I hope you guys have a little bit of better understanding of what the 5 love languages are, what they mean, and some good examples of how they can be communicated and reciprocated. And we'll get into a lot more deeper stuff. And that was our segment of rough stuff. We did lose a few viewers. We ain't gonna lie. This is raw, real, folks. All right, we're giving it to you raw, and we're keeping it real. So we did lose some followers during rough stuff, but those of you who stayed, you guys are warriors. You guys are champions. You are the ones that are learning something today about yourselves. You're the ones that are going to continue to grow. So we thank you and appreciate that so much. For those of you who stuck in and hung in there, it's important information, and we hope you see value in it. And if you guys ever have any questions, we've got an email address that we'd like to give out to you. It's rawrealpodcast@gmail.com. And if ever you guys want to reach out to us with any ideas or any questions that you might have, and if you want to reach out to us on our social media platforms, you can do so. Otherwise, guys, go check out the book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. For those of you who are local to the Montreal area, you can find it at most of the bookstores, and you can find it online as well. And if you don't like to read, you can also download it on your Android and Apple devices and listen to it audibly as well. Did you have fun so far, man?
Yeah, I'm having a good time. And guys, what we'll try to do also, it's our first episode, so we'll keep an eye more on the chats as well and try and answer. Right now we have the TikTok feed in front of us, so we'll try and answer. Somebody wrote something about you want to put the Lord in your mouth. I don't know what that was up. Some preacher. Yeah. So guys, let's try and keep it PG, because we do want to keep it PG so that everybody could listen, because everybody needs help.
Guys,
it's not just adults. It's hold on. Young
Get it out now, because as soon as we up our game from a technological standpoint and grow our team, which we are, and we do have a special announcement next week. All right, on next week's episode, we're growing our team. All right, and we're super excited about this, guys. We really, really are. And so we're gonna give you a little bit more details about it next week. So stay tuned. Make sure to tune in again next week at 8:30, same place, same time. But yeah, for those of you out there who are trying to throw in that sucker punch, go for it, guys. Because as soon as we step up the game from a technological standpoint and build a team, our mods are going to be doing what they need to be doing and making sure that the people are keeping it clean in the chats. Because,
but I found it funny. I was laughing. I'm reading this. I'm laughing. But a few people wrote, Kathy, thank you for writing. She did mention that to do something spontaneous.
Be spontaneous.
What would that fall into?
Okay, so here's the thing. And I'm guilty for this. I'm at fault for this. All right, because again, I'm not a romantic. All right, I played sports my whole life, and I was into some other stuff too. We'll get into it later on, but I'm by no means do I have romantic fiber in my bone or body or blood. So. Learning this is something new for me, but to be spontaneous is to say, I packed a bag with, my wife's things. I hid it from her, put it in the trunk, and I planned a getaway for us. And come Friday night, tell her that we're going out to dinner, get her in the car, drive an hour and 45 minutes up to Mont Tremblant and to a suite that's already got, some nice romantic stuff planned for us. So that would be an example of how you could be spontaneous, right?
It's important. It's very important to do that.
It is
in a relationship.
And I got to be better. And thank you for my wife for calling me out indirectly. All right, I love you. You're the love of my life. All right, you always will be. What is she saying?
Giving flowers on a specific holiday.
Yeah, I don't think getting flowers on a specific holiday, that's not special. I don't think that's special because that's what everybody does.
My wife doesn't like flowers on Valentine's Day, but I try to do something else, chocolate or something like that.
Okay, Tony.
A coffee mug. She loves her coffee mug.
Tony's wife, I'm going to have a conversation with him offline, all right?
Hey, shut up.
I'm going to fix your boy up. I'm going to fix your boy up. All right, we got 10 minutes left, guys. All right, we got 10 minutes left, and it's our very last segment, all right? And this last segment is brought to you by our sponsor, very last one, Swag IPTV. If you guys want to learn about what IPTV is and how to access certain things, these guys have got all the information on their website for you to learn what it is, what you can do with it, and things of that nature. So if you want to check out their website. It's swagiptv.com. And check out their articles and blogs. They come out with some really great stuff. They do some reviews of the latest pieces of technology that's coming out as it relates to streaming, your favorite content, how to access streaming services like Netflix and all these other streaming services through different devices. So if you're looking to make the change in your home entertainment viewing experience, check them out. Chat with them on their website. They've got support members that can give you all the information that you need to any questions that you may have as well. So this segment is called What's Trending. And I want to take a couple minutes, and anybody who's left in the chat, if you want to tag him, it's Peter Bond. And usually, this, content like what this individual does, I usually shy away from it. Reason being is because you're basically exploiting somebody to gain fame, right? And on your channel, so to speak. But Peter's content spoke to me in a very different way because it's no short of a miracle what ends up happening to him. So for those of you who don't know, Peter Bond is an individual. I believe he lives in New York, goes out on the town, and he tries to provide some sort of financial relief in the form of money, as well as an inspirational note to someone in need. And usually it's in the form of like $500 cash, along with a note that has an inspirational quote on it. And what's different about Peter's content is that miraculously he ends up running into these individuals weeks, if not months later. And what's so surprising is that the overwhelming majority of the people not only remember who he is and what they did for him on that day, but I'd say about 98% of the people still have that note that was given to them on that day by Peter in their pocket or on their persons. And in the one video that I saw where the person for the first time didn't have the note, he remembered the message verbatim, word for word, right? And what was so inspirational was the impact that Peter had on these individuals. These individuals took that money in certain instances and they went out and they got a fresh haircut, a fresh pair of clothes, a good night's sleep, a good meal, gifted it to somebody else who was also in need. But what was most inspirational to me was the story. The story that they had to tell, the success story that came from this gesture of kindness, that this random stranger came up to them in this random day and gave them some sort of, kind gesture and relief. And it was the spark that led to a better life for that individual. And that's what touched me the most about it, And it's more content like that I want to see. And, which leads us to another announcement, because Tony and I have previously worked in our communities as football coaches, as CITs, counselors in training for day camps. We've been involved in our communities, and Tony's been a part of some other communities. If he wants to talk about it, he can. But we want to be able to help more than just one person now. We want to help out as many individuals as we can in our community. And we haven't figured out what the details of it are, but we're definitely thinking about starting a fund, a GoFundMe account, and anybody who wants to donate, and anybody, we want to be able to help bring some relief to somebody, whether it's a child who wants to get involved in a sport but doesn't have the financial means to be able to do it, whether it's a family who's struggling with groceries. We like to be able to help, anybody out in particular.
And if I could add, Shane, one thing what Shane is talking about that we usually don't like these types of contents is, like, we're not going to go on the street, the guy homeless, and we're giving you a hamburger and stuff. And I don't know if we want to do a video necessarily too. Well, we're going to see what it is. Obviously, there's consent, but, we don't want, hey, this kid is poor. Hey, I'm giving him money. Look, no. Yeah. But what we will do with the fund is we're going to keep receipts and we're going to show a receipt.
We have to. And we have to be transparent with you guys to show you that we're not BSing you, right? And we want you to feel that in the same sense too. But we still have to figure out how we're going to be transparent, with how we're allocating the funds and to which people. And whether that means gaining their consent to get their story told for you guys. We just haven't figured that out yet, but that's where our mind is. And so we want to thank individuals like Peter Bond who continuously go out there and make, a change in those people's lives. We want to do something similar too, and hopefully we'll have the support of our viewers.
Yep.
And we'll definitely keep you posted with more details as we start to figure things out, because
That's right.
we're starting from humble beginnings. It's our first show. It's our first rodeo. We're learning things as we go. We're probably going to make a buttload of mistakes.
A bunch of mistakes.
But we're probably going to do some things right too. And we're excited, guys. We're excited where this is going to take us. We're excited for the future. We're excited to meet each and every one of you folks and have the opportunity to reach out and connect with you, in touch with you guys. We'll definitely let you know in the future when we're going to be going out and doing some filming in downtown Montreal. So if anybody is in the immediate area and you'd like to participate, come on down. We'd love to do that. And just a quick word for some of the followers out there who have seen our content. We've got an enormous amount of views in our first month, an enormous amount of following in our standards.
Thank you,
you know,
yes.
by our standards, where we we're not YouTube rich, we don't got plaques yet. But this is definitely something that we're so super thankful for. Every follow, every like, every comment, we are super, super, super grateful for. So thank you so much for that, guys. And just know that, my ADD is kicking in, man, and
It's late. But yeah, really, guys, thank you so much. At some point, we had as much over 60 viewers at some point, which is, for us, it's like, okay, thank
it's
you,
awesome, man. So
Like,
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll be back next week. We'll be talking about new things. And yes, sorry, where I was going with this for the viewers out there. I know you've been seeing a lot of the similar questions over and over again. We filmed a lot of content in a very short period of time. We've got maybe, a couple more clips before we start getting into the new questions. So guys, hang in there. Be patient with us. Thank you so much. For those who might have found it a little bit annoying, we realize that. We heard the feedback. We take it. We appreciate it. We value it. We do have new exciting questions. We tested them. I had an opportunity to test it earlier this week. So we're going to have fun with it. You guys are definitely going to have fun with it. So thank you so much. Tony, take us out, man.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
We love you. Peace.
Chris Olsen, get that championship, man.